Welcome to the CS Joseph podcast. I'm your host, CS Joseph. This is Acolyle edition, and today's question is excellent. I'm very happy to read this question. Basically, the question is, as an ESFJ, is my identity, does it come from being around other FI users? Oh my goodness. Wow, what a question. Let me give you the context of the question. Hello, Chase. I'm an ESFJ, and I just finished watching your parenting video for my type, which is in the Journeyman section for how to parent each of the 16 types. I can relate to all of it, and a lot of these issues I was aware of in myself growing up, along with other things. It caused me to isolate and really work that TI inferior to death. I always wanted to change myself, and I was frustrated that I was a people pleaser, highly agreeable, and I felt incompetent. I had no personal identity. I would just copy someone else, or mimic someone else. This would lead me to my question, and I honestly have many more. But does my identity come from being around other FI users? If I'm leading with extroverted feeling for the rest of my life, does that mean that I need an FI user to copy or adjust for? Or does my shadow FI come in? I feel I don't have a fixed identity, which I've also heard you say comes from our fathers. But basically, I feel codependent on someone else's values, along with getting fulfillment emotionally from them. What a concept. But let's actually discuss what's actually happening. So this comes from Cognitive Synchronicity, which is a Season 5 playlist here on the YouTube channel and in the podcast. So extroverted feeling is always looking for introverted feeling. Why? Extroverted feeling oftentimes expresses appreciation for other people, but it's kind of shallow, whereas the actual intrinsic valuable form of appreciation is also known as gratitude. Extroverted feelers, especially extroverted feeling optimistic types, which are FE heroes and FE child, which is ENFJ, ESFJ, ESTP, and ENTPs, specifically extroverted feeling optimistics, oftentimes need to be able to get gratitude in their life, which is basically a form of credit, being given credit or recognition for the things that they do for other people, right? This causes extroverted feeling optimistic types to be people pleasers, basically. They're all about being people pleasers. In fact, one of the greatest people pleasers I know is an FE child, and actually sitting on the floor right now in the other room, writhing in pain. Actually, to be fair, poor girl. But the point is, yes, it's a problem. It's a thing. And the thing is that FE child within an ENTP with FI trickster, because they're an SI user, they can still eventually learn through introverted sensing what their own identity is on their own. But oftentimes they have to adopt the value systems of other people in a process. But FE child still craves gratitude at the end of the day, and gaining that gratitude, and that's what leads to FE child, at least in terms of ENTP, being loyal to the wrong things, being fanatical to the wrong things, or the wrong people, the wrong ideas, the wrong belief systems, the wrong systems, which can be a serious problem. Dang, just lost it. So yeah, and oftentimes, FE child can tack their identity on other people, but this is especially difficult for ESTPs because ESTPs are soul temple, and soul temple is all about discovering or understanding what their own identity actually is. And this too can become a serious problem, a big problem over time. And I don't really like that, but there's not really much they can do because they're so external, and oftentimes they heavily rely on the reactions of other people, as well as other people giving them gratitude for them to even actually have a centering within their own identity, right? And then ENFJs, they don't really necessarily have that problem as much because extroverted sensing child is so focused on being memorable, they really know who they're being memorable around. And for the most part, as they do favors to other people, they can kind of extract a feeling of self-worth based on, the people that they teach or the people that they're contributing to over time. And they usually work hard to, take charge and keep those people around in their life, whereas the ESTP struggles with loneliness and they end up having a severe problem. But when it comes to the ESFJ specifically, because they're extroverted feeling hero, it depends if they're very servile, or it depends if they're very hedonistic as ESFJs. That comes from their cognitive origin of discovery and their temple wheel, their discovery temple wheel, and their shadow pole or their aspiration pole. The ESFJ is very servile with their aspiration pole. Yeah, they're hella people pleasing, and truth be told, yes, their identity is entirely based on other people showing them gratitude. And if there's a lack of gratitude, it's almost as if the ESFJ actually loses a sense of self. It loses a sense of their identity as well. However, what the ESFJ has, because they're SI parent, they have the ability to at least remember throughout their life who they have contributed to and who has actually given them gratitude. And it's almost like they have these little extroverted feeling achievements stored up within their long-term memory, right? Where they can remember themselves, oh, I did help this person and they did show me gratitude. So yeah, I'm not really a bad person. So really, how does an ESFJ solve the problem, basically, of having their identity entirely based on, other people, based on, whether or not an FI user in their life is actually showing them gratitude? And that literally comes down to the perspective. That comes down to the perspective of how much experience, how much life experience the ESFJ actually has when it comes to collecting gratitude. So I would recommend to guarantee that they at least go so far as to have little keepsakes where they keep proof, gifts that they've received from other people, gifts of gratitude. This is why their golden pair is the ISFP archetype, right? This is probably something that should absolutely be posted on YouTube, let's be honest. But ISFPs, their love language is to give gifts to other people, and they usually do that as a way of showing gratitude for the FE user in their life. And they show gratitude to the ESFJ golden pair of theirs by creating gifts and presenting those gifts to their ESFJ. And the ESFJ should really hold on to those gifts as keepsakes to serve their introverted sensing parents, so that they always remember that they did have gratitude, and that gratitude does not decay over time. Whereas that decay of gratitude exists for the ESTP, that decay of gratitude exists for the ENFJ. So those two types as Templars really struggle with an identity crisis because they do not have consistent gratitude in their life. They're the ones who actually struggle with identity the most, more so than an ESFJ or an ENTP would, as extroverted feeling optimistic types, right? And it ends up becoming that much more of a problem as a result. So the ESFJ, though, it really just comes down to patience. Just, you have to train yourself to remember the people in your life who have shown you gratitude for your contributions, for when you were people pleasing, or when you were serving others, or when you were being agreeable or something. But when you actually have concrete proof that those people are grateful to you, and that usually is in the form of gifts. At least that's what ESFJs appreciate the most, is in the form of gifts, basically. When they have those gifts, they should hold on to them as keepsakes, basically, to not only serve as reminders, but to supercharge their introverted sensing, so that they can always look back on their life and remember, okay, yeah, I am a good person. I do have my own identity because these people were grateful to me. I remember when they were grateful. Now, just because there's other people in my life, or maybe those same people aren't grateful to me right now, doesn't mean that it will always be that way, because I already experienced people being grateful to me in the past, right? So the ESFJ really should use their TI inferior to filter out the people in their life who are ungrateful, basically, to actually protect their introverted feeling, a nemesis, worry about their identity, because they worry that they're not human enough. They're worried that they're not good enough. They're worried that they're unworthy. But if they use their introverted sensing parent responsibly, they will remember this. And we actually talk about this. John Bodine and I actually talk about this in Ego Hacking Your Fear, the course. If you want to get that course and watch the ESFJ lecture that we have specific to ESFJs within Ego Hacking Your Fear, we actually talk about how to deal with FI nemesis to that end, and how they can use TI inferior in a healthy way to actually filter these people in their life to make sure that they are getting the gratitude that they actually need, that introverted sensing parent needs, because introverted sensing is based on need. You can do this at egohackingyourfear.com and get the course, which I highly recommend you do. egohackingyourfear.com, one-time fee, get the course, get educated as ESFJs to actually see specifically, okay, yes, people are being grateful, and make sure that those people are there. Now, if you're an ESTP or an ENFJ, make sure that you're around people who can be consistent with their gratitude, because an ESFJ and even an ENTP doesn't actually even need that consistency. They're supposed to be sources of consistency for other people, and that might be consistent sources of contribution or appreciation towards other people. But ESTPs and ENFJs have a much greater need for gratitude, because their entire identity, especially ESTP, is basically tacked on whether or not people are actually being grateful to them and giving them that special treatment. Receiving special treatment is absolutely central to an extroverted feeling optimistic type. It is absolutely central to who they are. It is central to their identity, but especially central to the ESTP and the ENFJ. At least the ENTP and the ESFJ has the benefit of having introverted sensing, so they can actually remember all the times people have been grateful towards them. Actually, being a UD-UF ENTP myself throughout my life, even though I'm UD-SF now because I changed my cognitive focus, thank God, and I'm working hard every day to keep it that way. But when I was UD-UF, I actually had a box of totems, and this box of totems would serve as reminders of people being grateful to me. That's also why I have my art wall. I have a wall of art in my room, art that I've collected. It's so funny that the majority of the art on my wall actually do come from ISFPs in my life, and those ISFPs gifted me with their art, and their art has just been absolutely central in my life, because their art actually helped me get from UD-UF and into UD-SF, because their art serves as totems, as reminders of gratitude, that people actually did care about me, people actually were grateful to me, and that was entirely central to me as a person. It actually helped me on my journey, and it actually helped me gain my subconscious focus, because I look at this art every single day, and they all serve as reminders of gratitude to me personally, and that's why I very much love my art and take it with me everywhere I go, everywhere I live. I always have my art with me that has been given to me to that end, right? That's why it's so important. The ESFJ should actually behave similarly as well. Have these keepsakes, keep these gifts around them, and just remember the times in their life where people have been grateful to them. ESTPs and ENFJs, well, they're forgetful, and they forget that. So they really have an even higher need to have those totems around them to remind them of that gratitude and how central and how important that is to their psyche as a person. I highly, highly recommend that they also collect totems of gratitude as reminders of gratitude, because otherwise they'll just be depressed, and it may actually cause them to go into unconscious focus over time. But at least the ESFJ can remember, out of these four types, can remember the most. So the answer to the question is that at first, for an ESFJ, yes, introverted feelers really ultimately, and the amount of gratitude introverted feelers show the FE hero of the ESFJ does actually determine their identity. Yes, it does. However, as time goes on with the ESFJ, and they can remember and look back on their life and remember the people who have been grateful to them, their identity will not necessarily be tacked on those people like it used to be in their youth, whereas their identity is like, oh no, I don't really have to care about that because I was really grateful to these people like 20 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever. And then they're comfortable, their SI parent is comfortable with their identity, with their own level of worthiness, and thus their FI nemesis doesn't have to worry anymore. But like I said, if you want to go deeper on this, you really want to get the Ego Hacking Your Fear course at egohackingyourfear.com. So anyway, folks, thanks for watching and listening. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.